Hey everybody, so this will be video number 4 and I decided to come on screen and say hello. So there's a reason why I'm doing these videos. There's a reason why I do everything I do. And the number one reason is because if we don't change the path we're headed in, if we continue to participate in the same shit over and over and over again, then we're responsible and have no right to complain. Because I'll tell you right now, for instance, Toronto Police just installed a brand new police division and it's called the Core. Okay, there's some videos that have come out where there's some individuals that have actually spoken to officers on the Core walking in the streets of Toronto. Do you know who has authority over this division? Public health. Public health has the authority over a new police division. Did any of you ever consent to providing the Ministry of Public Health policing authorities? Because I sure as hell didn't. So as far as I'm concerned, it's completely illegal and unlawful. And whoever came up and constructed, whatever legislation or policies are in place that allowed for this to happen is a criminal, because they did it in clear, intentional violation of the Supreme Constitution of our country. I have been an activist for the majority of my life. And you're worth it. Every single one of you are worth it. And I won't stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm a big nuisance to a lot of people, but the only people that I'm a nuisance to are those that are doing something wrong, and they know it. Because everybody else that I've met in every institution that exists in our society has a respect for me, for my relentlessness, and for my absolute unwavering principles. Because I do respect the law, And when tyranny becomes the law, then we have a duty to break it. We have a duty. So let's get back to the situations that are most forefront right now, okay? Because the divisive example that so many politicians in Canada are providing to the public, of which you guys are adopting. You're not children, you're adults. And you know what they're doing is wrong when they come out there. You need to check yourself, because the people out there protesting for Palestine are the exact same sort of Canadian you are. And I'm telling you this as somebody who does have a very different perspective of what it means to be a Canadian, as I am Native, white, and Jew. The German on both sides in my background, okay, is Jewish. Ashkenazi on one, and directly from the Davidian line on the other. And it took me 14 years to trace that, by the way. But, I can't even make this up. You all knew since you were young, since you were little kids, that there was something in this life that was coming, something bigger than you could probably understand. And you probably considered it at some point or another that you would be just an observer. That's not your place. That's not your place. If you thought of this stuff when you were young, it's because you were supposed to be part of it. You just have to decide what part. You're either going to be on the part that ends up with humanity in complete destruction, or you're going to be on the side that brings salvation. And a golden age where we can die in peace knowing that our kids are going to be just fine without us. But the choice, it's up to each of you. And I hope you choose the second one. Let's get into it. Let's get back to this subject for now, because it's very important, especially right now.
Iraq, which had nothing to do with 9/11. And there was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq under Saddam, by the way. Now we got ISIS, Al-Qaeda, what? By way of deception, thou shalt do war? ISIS. What does that really stand for? Israeli Secret Intelligence Services. How many times has ISIS or Al-Qaeda attacked Israel? 0. I'm sorry. This doesn't work for me.
As Jews and as Canadians, we are driven by the post-Holocaust edict of never again. And to us, that unequivocally means never again for anyone. Today, it bears emphasizing that the Palestinian people are facing what has now been widely deemed a genocide in Gaza. The situation in northern Gaza was further described by the heads of prominent UN agencies just a few days ago as nothing short of apocalyptic. Canada has refused to differentiate in its trade dealings with Israel, allowing these illegal settlements to benefit from privileged access to Canadian markets. It has repeatedly and continues to vote against UN resolutions in support of fundamental Palestinian human rights. It has also allowed Canadians to receive tax benefits through supporting charities that act as conduits for often violent settler organizations involved in terrorizing Palestinians, confiscating their land, and even blocking aid trucks to Gaza. This is real.
Now, you got to understand something. Even if you're racist, even if you hold, whatever presumptions or assumptions about other people, this is not okay. These people are children. This is what they're doing to children. 80% of everybody slaughtered by the military state of Israel have been children. Children. What are you going to do when it's yours? I have to say, I am so absolutely in love watching all of the Jews in North America, all of these young Jewish people who live in what is supposed to be the free world stand up for Palestine, because in doing so, they are liberating thousands, almost 2,000 years of real discrimination to their people at large because of the political exploitation of their faith. To hear anybody at all out there shitting on any Jew that stands up for Palestine is absurd to me, and they should be ashamed of themselves. This is beautiful, and I encourage it, and I stand beside it with my whole heart.
As a Jewish American, do you feel unsafe or attacked when you hear people calling for a free Palestine?
No, I feel unsafe when people say that that is anti-Semitic. I am out to clarify what actually constitutes as anti-Semitism, and that is not standing up for Palestinian human rights.
My parents said never again for anyone, and that's what I say.
The safety of the Jewish people is deeply tied to Palestinian liberation.
Do you have a message for your fellow Americans?
Educate on what actual anti-Semitism is and differentiating that from anti-Zionism.
Big difference from what you see on the Canadian news, isn't it? Isn't it disgusting to watch politicians out there calling young Jewish people who absolutely are within those Palestinian protesters terrorists? Is this right? Wake up, people. Everyone in Canada should be out there beside them. Because to turn your eyes away from such disgusting injustice is to invite it upon yourself.
In order to be successful as a politician, you have to be a really good liar. And that's probably why a lot of lawyers go into politics, because lawyers, they're paid to lie. I mean, you have to argue your client's case, even if you know they're wrong, and you have to put on a defense or whatever it is. So lawyers are generally pretty good liars, and so they become politicians. Because if you're honest and you tell the truth, you're not going to have a career in politics. Even if you manage to get elected telling the truth, you're not going to stay in office telling the truth. So you got to lie.
I'll see you in video 5.